and I want you to follow along. You already know part one, but there's several updates in part two. So I'm going to share a little bit of repetitive here, but I'm going to share what God is going to do. And I want you to notice what would have happened, because I'm going to share that with you, what would have happened except for the mercy, grace, and the love of God that He has just revealed. I thought about, what in the world should I name this, Lord? It's a little convoluted, if you know what I mean. And what came right away was, what was, would have been, and would be. That's convoluted, isn't it? Oh, gosh. So I'm going to give a little bit of repetition here so anybody that's new will hear what we got to say here and what the change is going to be. I was told by the Lord not to warn of this until I was told to. And I was shown by the Lord on 3/27/24 that an asteroid will show up beside the sun on 4/15/24. Now, I didn't use his name before because I wanted to let him make the decision when he was going to reveal this. But most recently, he said, David, you can use my name. I said, okay, I will. I didn't ask him. He said it to me. So President Trump, whom we were in contact with, said that their astronomers confirmed this, and it came to pass. The asteroid will be 10 days ahead of Planet X, Nibiru. Planet X will show up beside the sun 4/25/24. And that's because it was front and side lighted by the sun. It's not easy to see this thing. In fact, you can't see it in space without infrared. But it was lighted. And I was told it will show best at 4 p.m. EDT. And it will look like a star on the left side of the sun. And moments after that time, we saw it. On 4/25/24, Michael and I had one pair of these paper and plastic eclipse glasses. We were high tech, man. And we were passing them back and forth because we only had one pair, you know. And we were looking, watching for it. Well, we saw the same thing at the 8 o'clock position on the sun, and very close to the sun. Well, what looks like very close is probably not very close, but it looked very close, almost like a bump on the sun. But the sun was perfectly round. We saw the same thing at that time. But we think that we were only seeing the half of it that was facing the sun because it was lighted. I've heard that infrared would show the whole thing. So at one point, I could barely see 3 very small dots positioned on the face of the edge of the sun. The sun is huge, and this thing compared to the sun is very small, very small. So I saw these dots, I said, what is that, It was on the face, but it was on the very edge where this thing was. In a semicircle facing this thing at the 8 o'clock position. I thought what came to me was it could be the orbitals or the moons of Planet X, which we've had dreams of. They soon disappeared as they moved and were no longer in front of the sun. That was the only reason you could actually even see them. They were in front of the sun. President Trump was watching too. And as he spoke with us, he said, their astronomers said, it is there. So I asked President Trump if he would try to get us professional pictures, and he said he would try. And after leaving the sun, it will be hard to see until it's closer and far bigger to our view, possibly because infrared is needed to see it in space. I don't understand that, but that's the facts. They made special telescopes to be able to see this thing. So the Lord said, the powers that be will attempt to cloud up the sky, but the angels will sweep the clouds away. This was another confirmation. And this is exactly what happened as we all watched. The sun was clear and distinct. You know what the sun looks like. You probably don't remember what it's supposed to look like. It was clear and distinct, and you could see it perfectly. This thing was very small, but I was seeing the sun like I haven't seen it in a long time, and that's just because it was a clear sky, just like God said, and usually it's so diffused when you look at the sun, you can't tell where the edges of the sun are. It's just a blur. And that's because all the garbage these people are spraying up there, trying to kill us. Well, shortly after we saw what we did, the clouds moved back in. So we could have just got our 40-day warning like Jonah, who said, in 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed. So I'm going to revisit that a little bit later, but I'm going to continue with this revelation. The asteroid will hit the earth, quote, the asteroid will hit the earth 40 days from the first sighting on 5/25/24. That's what the Lord said. And this is the same day, years ago, 5/25, that Virginia Boldia saw 3 pieces of this asteroid hit the earth in her revelation. I never had noticed that till I was looking back for the three strikes, and I looked at the date was right there on it. That's the date she saw it. What's the chances of that, huh? Planet X will fly, quote, again, the Lord will fly by Earth 40 days after the first sighting on 6/4/24. Hence, a 40-day warning. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, now here's an update you haven't heard, okay? This is not the last update. This is the second to last update. The Lord said Planet X would eventually fly 10 times faster than Earth does in its orbit. Notice that. However, this is very slow for Planet X. I don't know how many thousands and thousands of miles an hour that thing flies, but it's extreme. The Lord said when Planet X was attempting to leave the sun, its gravity was pulling it back, causing it to begin to slow down. Once before Planet X hit, I believe it was Ceres, which we know now as an asteroid belt. It shattered Ceres into multiple pieces, but it slowed Planet X down enough that it went into orbit around the sun.